work our horses, demonstrate the horses and show people how the heritage is kept alive.
Well, I think it's very important that the skills aren't lost. I mean, we might need those skills again one day, who would know?
Our association tends to want to promote the working side of the horse. I don't think any of us actually go to shows to get ribbons. We just do demonstrations.
They're quieter. They tend to be, you can predict them a bit more. They're horses, of course, and they go mad, all of them, at times, but they tend to be quieter. They predict, and they can see and think what you're doing much better than like a thoroughbred, which tends to want to run.
Like all animals, they can show you they've got two sides every now and then, but 90% of the time they're very clever. They learn skills very quickly. My Blue and Harvey, you know, they've learnt very good skills that, and it's time that teaches those skills.
They're what they call cold blood, and yeah, they are not as hot as like the thoroughbreds or the Arabs.
Sometimes when I'm harnessing up at home, I forget to put the reins on. Well, he won't move. He stands there like, oh, what's wrong? Go. You go, no, get off. And you put the reins back on, or you've done something, or sometimes you go away and you're still tied to the tree and you won't move, of course. Yeah. So if you did that with a thoroughbred or an Arab or something, you know, we'd go mad.
That quiet nature, that just assists you with what you're trying to do, I suppose, because you can't have a horse that makes quick decisions and moves quickly, because you can end up in trouble very quickly.
Well, there's a scarifier where you go in after you've ploughed to level the ground, prepare the seedbed.
Today I'm going to use the single furrow plough, and a lot of people, when they look at it, say that's easy. And when you have a go, you realise it's a lot harder than it is. And you've got to do 5 things at once. You've got to keep the plough in, you've got to drive the horses, you've got to keep the plough straight, you've got to do a whole lot of skills. But it's learning those skills. And I believe their role is teaching to multi-skill. A lot of people can't do that nowadays.
The hay grab was a thing that they had years ago, where they were able to build a haystack and they use a horse as part of it. If you film it, you'll see where the grab picks up the hay, swings around, and we drop it onto a haystack, and then they made the stack higher. The ploughing, well, that was just to prepare ground to plant a crop. The Furphy cart was just to cart water. They had no other means, and I know this person that taught me, when he was a kid, they had a guy on a farm that's all he did every day was cart water, because the water was, I think, 5 or 6 miles away.
They're ideal horses for the work. They could step up more than, say, a Shire. They can lift their legs and they cover the distance better in the plough and the wagon, and that's why they were used right up until, I guess, now. We still do, and we love them there.
The horse stands on the treadmill, walks along, which powering the treadmill, which powers the winnower beside it. The winnower is a machine that separates the husks from the grain itself. So there's been a header go through the paddock and pull the wheat off, or the oats, and then it's got to back up to that machine and be processed through that, breaking all the husks and everything off till there's a clean grain.
What we try and do is set the trucks up so that the horses travel as comfortable as they can. These horses travel on a 45-degree angle. The feed bin along there for them to keep them calm. We try and hang all the harness up so that if I want that particular horse, all the gear for that horse is on that hook. All the gear for this horse is on that hook. Stow all the coats and stuff up out of the way so they're not around the horse's feet and that sort of thing. Once we get to a show like this, we got a bit of junk around. It's usually stowed away when we're travelling. Put rubber on the floor and up the walls and that for their comfort. In here we've got like living quarters. It's sort of set up like a home away from home. Got the sink, the fridge, the bench, all the stuff, the double bed up here, lighting, the side entry door if we need to get in and out. You hop in your truck, load your horses and away you go, and should have everything you need. But sometimes we forget things.
This little collar here is for little Duke. Duke is 4.5. This is only his 6th time out for a visit. And he's learning very quickly. We have to check the inside and make sure there's no prickly bits, lumps. Every horse has a slightly different size neck. And I never put the winkers on. I always put the winkers on last because I reckon that way that the horse sees what I'm doing and he gets used to it. Come on, one more. That's it. Because he's got another 3.5 years of growing, this young fella.
So what sort of age are they when they're fully grown?
Well, he's at 8, and I swear he finished growing last spring. So he grows. So this fella here's probably got another 3.5 years of growing. Now I'm using what's called a spider. Lots of people use just back bands, but I like these because they keep them up off there, keep the chains up from around their legs when you're working them, and then put the hames on, and because I use a strap from the spider up to the hames, I always put the spider on first, and then this comes up on there, and that stops it from sliding back, or stops the spider from sliding off, also stops the collar from sliding forward. Then we just clear out the mane, most of it, so it doesn't put undue pressure on his collar. Give this a yerk, and then the crupper goes on, stop it from sliding all over the place. Just check there again. Tap this out the way so that it's tidy. She goes in there first. And the keeper. Keeps it tidy. This one I'll hook up out the way. That one I'll leave down for the time being.
People are getting more and more detached from animal behaviour altogether, and I think people even in their social lives are missing out on a lot from not having that interaction with animals, whether it's dog, cat, horse.
One day we might run out of petrol, and then I'll be able to go down to town, I'll be able to grow all my own food, and you blokes will be starving.
If the skill is lost, then it's lost forever. If the horse dies, we can breed the horse back. Can't breed skill back. So we're actively trying to encourage more and more younger people, but it's very difficult because, as you say, the digital age is easy. To get the skills with horses takes a long time to learn it.
Well, if we don't preserve them, we won't have them. And all these sort of functions, I run around with the camera and recording different things with the things that people won't see in future. If we don't get more members, or newer members, younger members, things will be lost.
I say, look, anyone can do this. You don't have to be a horse master. Sure, there's skills that you develop along the way, but anyone can really learn those skills. So I guess if we should ever not have the digital age, I don't know how we're all going to go in the future, but definitely I think from a historical point of view, it's important to keep this alive and important to light other people's candles of possibility.
There's a role for them to keep that heritage alive, because if we lose our heritage, we've got no... You always look back into our history, and Australia's got such a short history compared to overseas. And you can go to a museum and see a plough, but it doesn't tell you what it does. If you can see a plough working, you get a lot more understanding of it.
Where else can you come over Easter and get the views like, you know, without the masses of people? It's a fabulous opportunity for us to come down here and showcase what we do at home, what we do at other club events.
It's probably one of the best places to ever come. I even come back here occasionally when they don't have a festival and do something, just for the hell of it. It's just so nice.
The best part of Churchill Island is the view. To work here and look out over the sea, and it's a beautiful thing. Second thing, that they're trying to keep the history alive, and I believe that that's so important to keep that history alive.
The homestead setting, the farm, the history, it's just perfect. You've got it all here, and you know, why wouldn't you want to come here every year? It's wonderful, and it's great to see the public.
If they wanted to learn, they can join our association. They do not need horses. We have education days, we have drives, we have days like this where people can come and particularly on education days, they can have a hands-on experience where they're in a safe place, and we have people that will put the time in to give them the skills required.